Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back guys. It's been a while, and as I said in my first coming back video, I didn't really have a lot that I wanted to cover, but this is something that I definitely wanted to cover, seeing as the royals have had a very difficult time as of late, especially William and Kate. They have faced a hell of a lot of extreme criticism in the last few days regarding their Caribbean royal tour. So a lot of people are outraged, especially over here in the UK, about the presentation that they saw in the Bahamas and in Jamaica specifically. William had a very frank conversation with Jamaica's Prime Minister, who essentially said that he would like to see his country moving forward and that Jamaicans are moving on from the Commonwealth. A lot of people have said that their presentation and all of the pictures that they recreated and the activities that they partook in were very much reminiscent of old colonial days, and a lot of Jamaicans are now calling for a republic, along with a lot of people in the Bahamas. So Jane Moore, who is someone I'm quite a fan of, she is a TV presenter and she oftentimes features on a show called Loose Women over here in the UK, and sometimes I will watch it on catch up. And she really did dig in deep and attack William and Kate. Even though I'm a huge supporter of William and Kate, what I can definitely take from this is that Meghan and Harry are extremely over the moon about this. They're really happy because they did actually have a frank conversation about the stains on British history and the Commonwealth, basically. And they had this conversation about that in so many words. They didn't cover it entirely, but they kind of skirted across the surface, and there was an outrage about it. All I'm really going to say on this, because I don't want this channel to get too political, is that I can only conclude that these types of negative press will play into the hands of the Harcourt, and they are definitely going to use it as ammunition to further attack the royal firm, because they are standing on shaky ground with this recent uproar. There are a lot of countries in the most recent years that are looking at and calling for republics, and that's been going on worldwide. There are a lot of countries that feel as though there's no value in maintaining relations with the Commonwealth because they just simply do not feel as though it's very beneficial. In regards to the Bahamas and Jamaica, the most recent country that I visited was the Bahamas. That was quite some time ago. But I visited the Bahamas and I spoke to quite a few of the local people. I'm not from the Bahamas, but they did fill me in on what's going on out there. Now, this was quite a few years ago, but what they did say was that the Bahamian government is actually cutting quite a few business deals with China, and they are selling quite a lot of the land privately to China, whereby a lot of their land is being developed for commercial use by the Chinese, and this has caused a lot of tension. And I think that there seems to be this moving trend, especially in Africa and across the Caribbean, whereby they are cutting a lot of business deals with the Chinese, which is slowly changing the way in which the world functions, and it's also changing their allegiance. And I feel as though China has a great hand in this. They are offering these people a hell of a lot of money, lucrative transactions, developing infrastructures in these countries that do have a lot of well-known poverty issues, underlying issues, and underdeveloped infrastructure, and a lot of people are now pledging allegiance to them, and they feel as though the Commonwealth and their relationship with the Commonwealth has not really served them to this extent. So therefore they would like to break away from it. And according to quite a few reports, the Jamaicans would actually like to see the Chinese royal family come over, and they would like to host them instead of the British royal family because they have not received reparations. So there's a lot going on there. I'm going to get into Jane Moore's article, which I'm sure you guys have already seen. If you find it hard to consume content that is highly critical of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, William and Kate, then please click out now. I'm not saying this with intention to upset anyone. This is simply what she said, and I just felt as though it's unfair to give a true verdict on this without actually talking about some of the things that people are widely talking about and the very reasons as to why people feel as though this royal tour of the Caribbean for William and Kate particularly was a complete and utter disaster. So I'm going to skim over a few of the things that she said, and then I'm going to conclude. So she said, in my column last Friday, I wrote about the unfolding disaster, and for a royalist like me, it was just as painful to write it as it was to behold. What on earth were William and Kate thinking? Or more pertinently, what was their retinue of supposedly expert aides and advisors thinking? In a part of the world once shaped by British rule, it is no secret that the sensitivities have recently heightened over matters of republicanism and the possibility of reparations. The Windrush scandal, which emerged in 2017, is another fresh wound that needs to be addressed with care. So how to tackle all this with empathy and tact? Certainly not by going back to the future in a colonial era. Path News Real Style Jaunt featuring William in the tropical dress of his old regiment, trundling around a field in a jeep with his medals on his chest, his wife in a hat by his side and a ceremonial sword in his hand. Dear God, it couldn't have been more colonial if he had worn a pith helmet and driven a tank through the streets of Kingston. Every time he tried to help, he only made things worse. At an official dinner, the prince wrung his hands and expressed his profound sorrow at the abhorrent trade and echoed his father by saying it stains British history. Sadly, he didn't mention the £100 million plus aid we have given to the Caribbean Commonwealth countries over the years, nor did he speak of how the UK led the world in the abolishment of the trade. How I wish just for once somebody would. Instead, it was the full royal grovel, and when it wasn't the full royal grovel, it was the embarrassing photo opportunity. These set pieces included the Trenchtown bongo bashing, posing by the Bob Marley statue, and yes, the now infamous clasping the hands of children through a chain link fence, with each bad taste scenario outdoing the previous one in a daisy chain of ever-increasing cringe. Foreign tours are an opportunity to reflect. You learn so much, William said. It suggested that one day he's going to be a thoughtful, modernising king, but what will be left of his realm by then? Surely, in this day and age, the bald truth is that one can only truly modernise a monarchy by abolishing it. Like his father, Prince Charles, before him, Prince William can be as heart-rending and emotional as he wants when he talks about the horrors of the trade, but both men are going to be kings one day, a system of belief that rests on the notion that their bloodline is superior to any other in the entire Commonwealth. Prince William is damned by his very existence. He has said that his family wants to serve the Commonwealth family, but what does that even mean anymore? Nothing very much. Royal aides have complained that much of the criticism and coverage is unfair, that it was just a few moments isolated in what was a largely successful tour. But don't they understand, in the age of Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, moments are all that matter. And what is a royal tour except a symbolic progression of photo opportunities and strategic meet and greets in the first place? Without these images being beamed around the world, a royal tour would be meaningless, and if it is meaningless, it is also worthless. One must suppose that it is the drum-beating, handshaking, conch-eating, booty-shaking, capering, about that gives these tours any lasting merit at all. Terribly unfair, but terribly true. All of this comes at a difficult juncture for the royal family, who find themselves besieged on many fronts. Prince A is a disgrace. Prince Harry seems to be determined to deepen the ongoing rift, and the Queen is frail, and not everyone is thrilled with the prospect of King Charles and Queen Camilla. Quite honestly, we could do without William and Kate slipping on constitutional bananas on the other side of the world, but it is all far too late now. Even worse, this takes place in a world where history itself is going through a boil wash of revisionism, one that finds the royals on the wrong side of the divide, down there at the bottom of the basket amongst the dirty laundry of colonialism and the stains of the past. She continues to go on, but she concludes in a few paragraphs after that. I'm going to conclude it here. The pictures, were they cringeworthy? There was some cringing moments. I liked Kate's outfits, but then I always do. I always like to see her, put on a nice frock, go out and interact with the public. She has a very positive, nice demeanour about her. She's very personable, but it doesn't change the overall sentiment of the people. I feel as though William became very apologetic because the calls for a republic was so overwhelming, and he probably felt out of sorts, out of place and humiliated, which essentially he was. I don't think they'll be going back to the Caribbean anytime soon. This is really what a lot of the Commonwealth nations are focused on. It's about money. And of course, I don't see the royal family coughing up reparations anytime soon. And that is the bone of contention. That's really the elephant in the room. It's something that Jane Moore covered, but she didn't really go into it. And this is what it is about. I think if reparations were given to a lot of members of the Commonwealth who was involved in the trade formerly, they wouldn't be calling to break away, and they wouldn't be calling for a republic. They see it as a non-beneficial relationship that has a toxic start, and it's going to, of course, not end very well either. I think I'm going to conclude there because I think I said all I wanted to say about the Chinese and where I feel it's headed and what I feel the foundation of it is. It's about money. It always has been, and it's only going to get worse. And with this time of austerity that we all find ourselves entering into, I think that this theme tune is going to continue, and it may spread across the Commonwealth. Unfortunately for William and Kate, I will be back with another one. Bye guys.